Hey everybody, at South by Southwest, Mark Cuban has gotten some ink for comments he made that are directed at black female entrepreneurs, and he was part of what according to the BA Con magazine was a roundtable speaking alongside entrepreneur and chief empowerment officer Tabitha Brown on a panel hosted by fintech company Clover. Cuban encouraged black women entrepreneurs to adopt strategies similar to his own approach of bootstrapping. Cuban emphasized the importance of financial literacy and encouraged black women entrepreneurs to deeply understand their business finances. In a conversation with Essence, Cuban noted, even though only 2% of venture capital funding goes to female-only founding teams, knowing your numbers makes you more likely to secure loans and external support. Cuban's stance aligns with his own entrepreneurial journey, suggesting that bootstrapping provides a greater long-term stability and independence by allowing entrepreneurs to retain full ownership and control. The South by Southwest panel was hosted by fintech company Clover, which recently partnered with Tabitha Brown, who joined the conversation as Clover's chief empowerment officer. Brown added a complementary perspective, reminding entrepreneurs to persevere despite systemic challenges. Even if it's slow, progress is still progress, she emphasized. And the way this was presented at first, though, and there's another part of this that's not here, is that Cuban had discouraged them from trying to get funding from venture capitalists. And I felt that his take was not looking at the reality that was introduced just 4 months ago in a Substack article, which talked about how women, regardless of color, and Mark knows this, were far less likely to get funding from the venture capital community, which is overwhelmingly white and male, than their white male counterparts. And this is even more so true for black women. But rather than attack the system, Mark essentially said, well, improve your financial literacy. The implication being that, well, a lot of black women are maybe not be financially literate, which in my experience has been the opposite. So I felt that Mark was unintentionally boosting the tech bro segment by not attacking them or saying, hey, look, we're telling the truth. There are very rich venture capitalists, white men, who would simply write a check to a woman because he likes the way the woman looks. And that is a fact that has been talked about over the last 5 months alone, let alone the last 20 years. So here's the other simple fact of the matter. Women who get, regardless of color, who get venture capital money, their businesses outperform those of their white male counterparts. But white men are far more likely to get that money, right? Does that sound like a meritocracy to you? The answer is no. It is not a meritocracy, okay? And we have to be vocal and focused on eliminating this problem in society, because when the whole tech industry got started in its web phase, it was known back then in the 90s, and particularly the late 90s and 2000s, that if you had an idea, someone would simply write a check for, say, $4 million. It could be an idea. It didn't have to be a C Corp. You didn't have to have it structured. You didn't even have to show what's called traction, which means people are buying your product, right? Just the idea. Of course, today, that's far less likely to happen. But the bottom line is that the one dynamic that was true then is true today. Race and sex drive who gets the money and who doesn't. And that has to stop. And what better voice to use to push change than Mark Cuban saying, hey, look, we shouldn't have this kind of racism. Instead, Mark rubber stamped it. And that was sad. And I think he did so unintentionally. He called himself being helpful, but he didn't really think through the message he was putting out, because the way it was communicated in a number of media outlets basically said, hey, you know, Mark Cuban is saying that black women don't have financial, or not financially literate. Gotta clean that one up, Mark. Subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube and bookmark NFL News by Zenny62.com and ZennyReport.com. We'll see you. And also CESLasVegasNews.com.